Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Colby from Sanitarian Productions, and we're back again with another board game unboxing. In this episode, we're taking a look at The Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. Very cool game by Fantasy Flight Games. It is a board game of adventure and exploration for 1 to 5 players. This does require the free digital companion app for your iPad, iPod, whatever you got that does digital apps and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a cool big box game. Taking a look, it has some very nice cover art, really nice looking, has that nice Lord of the Rings feel to it, which is great because it's a Lord of the Rings game, of course. Taking a look at the box itself, we've got some cool side art, more cool side art, kind of the same images all the way around. And then on the back side we have a picture of what to expect in the box here. Some cool stuff. Again, it does remind you that you do need that free digital companion app to kind of play through it, which really does help enhance the gameplay. So very cool. We'll take a look at that and see all the information here. It does give you some nice information about which card sleeves you need. That is very nice, very helpful. I'm glad that they have started including that. 14 and up, 1 to 5 players, about 60 minutes per round or per module, I guess you would say. But we're going to go ahead and dive into this thing and cut this open. Handy dandy X-Acto knife, slicing this, wrapping off, peeling the paper. And I'm not going to do really a review of this game because, I've not really played it yet. But today we're just kind of taking a look at what you can expect to get in the box itself and kind of what comes with it. So that's really our goal for today, is to find out what's inside here. So let's go ahead and lift the box off. And I found if you grab the side of the box, it lifts out really easily. We'll set this to the side over here. Hopefully that'll stay and not fall on me. Up first, another reminder that you have to download the companion app. So they are pretty serious about letting people know that is a thing that you have to do. So very cool. And then an advert for the living card game, which is pretty awesome. I have played that a little bit. I got it. I got the beta version as part of the collector's edition of the Lord of the Rings living card game. The game itself, not the digital, but it came with the digital coupon for that, and it's a really cool game. So I've enjoyed that so far. We have another little catalog of other Fantasy Flight games. We'll just kind of quickly flip through this here. X-Wing, Legion for Star Wars, Legend of the Five Rings, Cosmic Encounter, more Star Wars stuff, Arkham Horror, Imperial Assault, Legend of the Five Rings, Mansions of Madness, which is an awesome game, Fallout, Twilight Imperium, Star Wars Rebellion, Civilization A New Dawn, Game of Thrones card game, Eldritch Horror, which is also another good game, Genesis, Star Wars Armada, Descent, which is very awesome as well, Game of Thrones, the board game, and more Fantasy Flight things and other stuff. So, pretty standard catalog. We have the Learn to Play manual. Nice 16 pages. We'll flip through this real briefly. You can get a look at the layout of all the components. First campaign setup, how everything goes together. I like this style of imagery. Got that nice kind of old parchment feel to it. Very cool. I'll have to redo that before actually playing the game at some point. But and then a quick reference guide there. So cool. Learn to play guide. Then we have our actual rules reference, which has another awesome image on it. And this looks like a 32-page book. We'll just briefly flip through this thing here. Pretty nice layout. Lots of text. Not a lot of images. So, yeah. Pretty straightforward though. So, yeah, cool reference guide. And then we get to our first punch-out boards. We'll punch these out in a moment, but big stack of those. And then we have a set of miniatures, or a bag of miniatures, another bag of miniatures, some stands, a set of cards, and we will look at all these things a little closer here in just a moment. Another set of the miniature cards. We've got our character cards. We have an insert to keep everything. Just this cardboard fold-out thing, which is cool. Again, that really nice image there from the cover of the box. And that's everything that's in the box. So, yeah, let's get this thing thrown back in here. And we'll set this off to the side with the rest of the box. Maybe, hopefully it'll sit right there. It's being aggravating, so stay. Okay, here, we'll zoom in on the miniatures in a moment. We will also zoom in on the cards in a moment. More cards in a moment. So while we got the camera way out here, let's take a look at the punch-out boards. Slicing the paper, plastic wrapper off of these. And it's aggravating for me. Sometimes these things come out really easily, sometimes they don't. There we are. So the first board we have here has some nice wooded area. I guess we can turn it this way. That seems to be oriented about as good as anything else. But really nice art on these things. I don't know if y'all can see this really well, but really nice looking. They are double-sided. They do have little numbers corresponding to whatever things that you got going on. Then a bunch of these other little tokens that you punch out. Some gold tokens, some shrubberies, some ruins or rocks. A little river thing here. So very nice looking. And on this side we got a big pit. A rock wall thing there. More big rocks. So that's awesome. I do like that. The next board we have is very similar. It's a lot of wooded areas. And as far as like scale goes, they don't line up with like a gridded system for like D&D 5e. So these figures so you really can't use this as like terrain in another game. Some of these things you probably could as like little streams. That seems okay. These rock things look fine, but the wooded areas it's from a much further distance out, so you really can't see details in it, so not really useful for D&D 5e or, Pathfinder or anything like that, but still really nice art. And then we have another cool little section here. Nice halls and rock walks and things like that. That's very cool. Next, we got more tokens, some barrels. Looks like a fire pit or something there. More tokens. Flipping over to the back, we got more of that kind of mine looking areas. A table, some, what are those, like statues and things. So that's pretty cool. Another wooded area. And another wooded area. This one is very interesting because it has a lot of these kind of ruins, crumbling old buildings and things like that. So I really like that quite a bit. Very cool. Then we've got more outdoor areas. There's a cool pit there. Some flag banners. Some more ruins. Very nice. More outside areas. Looks like that's an elvish thing there. Very, very cool looking. And now we got a little town. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Then more outdoor areas. A nice crumbly bridge there. That is cool. And more like castle ruins. I really like those quite a bit. So, yes. Then we have kind of a standard board here. This one is more of a zoomed in look here. So this would very much be very easy to use with D&D 5e as an encounter setting pretty easily. Flipping that over, we have more kind of stone walk areas. So that's very cool. Again, compatible with the D&D stuff very easily. And then we have another one which looks like these two are basically the same. Essentially the same. I can't really see any difference. And on the back it's got the same kind of rock work. So cool that we get two of these tiles. But that's all the tiles we get. So that's cool. We'll go ahead and zoom in and start looking at character cards. Alright, now that we're zoomed in, we can start looking at cards. So these are our character cards. They come in a nice little Ziploc bag here, which is very cool. Nice, easy way to keep them separated. Little blue dot here. I'm not really sure why they put the dots on there. So if anybody actually knows that, drop a comment. Let me know what these little blue stickers are for. It looks like they're on the rest of the cards as well. That could be just production thing. I don't know. Anyways, card-wise, the first one we have, actually, so these are laid out very nicely. You've got a nice image of your character, their class, their name, their stats over here, special features, that kind of thing. And on the back, you have some nice background information and some roles and item stuff that you can start with. So that's cool. So first up we have, and I'm going to butcher these names, so bear with me. Baravor. And I guess you can look at the back here if you want to pause it to read through the background information there. I'll let you do that. Then we have Gimli. And the background information there if you want to pause it. Legolas. And again, this is not based off the game. This is not based off like the movie trilogies. This is based off of the book stuff. So the character art doesn't look like the movie actors. Just so you know that going into this. I'm a big fan of the movies, but yeah, these are not movie accurate. And there is the background information for Legolas. Next up we have Elena, I don't know. Background information. And then we have Bilbo. And our background information. And the last character we have is Aragorn. and his background information. So that is very cool. Nice little character sheets here for all your playing needs. Toss these to the sides and grab a stack of these mini cards. We do have 2 stacks of these, and I don't know, we'll look at these one at a time here. Who knows what they are actually going to be, but alright, so these come with very nice little iconography symbols on the back side. They've got a lot of different ones in here. We're not going to go flip through all of them as far as the back. So you have, I guess these are probably enemies. But then let's flip this over to the front side. And I just flip those everywhere. So be careful of that when you're doing this. Could very easily kind of end up spilling them everywhere, but that's alright. No big deal. And we'll go here. And here, and here, and here. So, how is that? Let's try it this way here. I'm going to zoom the camera in a little bit just so we can flip through it here this way instead of holding these up quite so far. And we'll try it anyways. Alright, so all in all, these things look really nice. They've got some decent small art here on them. And we'll just briefly flip through these so you can get a good idea of what these are. And again, on the back side, you've got different icons that mean different things. So we'll find out what that means when we actually play. But all in all, these things look pretty good. I like the artwork. This one's really cool. Falcon Companion. And like most of these games, you'll have multiples of these cards because you kind of shuffle these things and draw them from the deck when needed, and then you kind of randomize what things you see. I like them so far, though. These must be armor and things like that because they switched the layout up. So while we're flipping through these, I'm just curious, do you all use card sleeves yourselves on these little cards? I'm not a big fan of these little miniature cards, but it does make sense in a lot of these games where you end up having a lot of sprawl on the table. And I do like putting these in sleeves myself. Well, I don't like the actual act of it, but I like using them with sleeves. I'm just curious if y'all do that, or if you just use the cards as is. So drop that in the comments section. Let me know what your take is on all that. There are a lot of cards here. I want to start a new pile here. So one of the other things that I do often while we're flipping through this stuff is when I'm doing some of my writing, I do like randomly pulling cards like this to find equipment and things like that for my stories that I'm writing. So I find this, I guess it's a little bit of a cheat, but sometimes, you don't want to bother really having a specific reason for every single thing that your characters use or come across or whatever like that. So for me, it's nice to just sometimes pick something like this and say, oh, he's got well, that's not a good example, but like gathering supplies or, elf hunting or whatever. But, using these things as writing prompts to kind of help flesh out whatever that world is that I might be trying to write for. So I don't know if anybody else does that or if I'm just crazy, but, drop some comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on that process. If you do any writing or anything like that, do you kind of take inspiration from things like this? Or do you ever find yourself in a slump and kind of reach for a deck of cards to try to help flesh out whatever the problem is that you're running up against? Almost to the end of this first deck. That's a cool looking. Alright, so there is that deck here. So very cool. Again, these little small mini cards. I don't know what the actually size is on these things that you call them, but I'll put those back in the little Ziploc bag here. And we're going to grab the next deck. Second deck. Same thing, Ziploc bag, big huge deck of cards, and I'm going to split these in half to begin with this time. Put a deck there, and a deck here, and we're going to flip through them. And I didn't do a good job of splitting them in half, but you get the idea though. So we'll just kind of go through here. I'm going to go a little quicker here. Hopefully this is not spoiling anything for anybody. This, again, does require the app. I've said that before. So this shouldn't spoil anything for you, but these are just equipment cards and things like that. So you get an idea of the kinds of things you will run across. But most everybody, I'm assuming, that's going to be interested in this game has probably read the books. And I'm sure this is not going to go exactly by the books, but mostly just using the book as a framework for the game adventure. So at any rate, you should kind of somewhat be familiar with some of these themes, some of the characters. That's cool. Alright, so there's the first small deck, and then the last one here. These are kind of the full imagery. That one is really cool. I do like the artwork on these. Again, I am a big fan of the world of the Lord of the Rings, so shouldn't be a big surprise that I'm digging the artwork. Alright, there we go. That's the last of that set of cards. Very nice. Nice solid deck anyways. Put these back in the baggie till I can get around to actually sleeving these things. Then we've got these little stands. They're just a bunch of plastic stands. And I'm assuming probably these cards slot in here for some of the enemies, I guess. I don't really know, but that's basically it, though. You would do something like that with it. So, yeah, that's the accessories we get. So we'll go ahead and move on to the big thing, miniatures. Alright, miniatures. So we have two sets of these. We've got, I guess, your player character miniatures and then your enemy miniatures. We'll look at the player character miniatures first. Just a small little bag here. Dump these out and see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these that correspond with the character cards. So, yes. First up, I guess we'll do it this way here. The bottom of these things have this information on them. So, yeah, I'm assuming this is probably Legolas here. Pretty nice looking. Some decent amount of detail on them. These are not quite as detailed as things like from Cool Minis or not, but these are still really good looking miniatures. See if I can get it to come in here on the face here. They look really good, actually. Pretty impressed with those. Scale-wise, these things are basically the same scale as traditional D&D miniatures. So, was that 28mm or something like that? So, you can definitely swap these in for some D&D campaigns or Pathfinder, whatever you want to say. Next up, this is probably Aragorn. We'll just rotate through this guy real quick. Again, some decent detail work. These things would look really nice painted. They do come unpainted. The sword's a little bendy. Pretty standard with most of these kind of figures that we get. There's his facial sculpt. Pretty nice looking. Then we've got, I guess this is the other elf. Really nice looking. Head may be turned a little bit too far for my taste there, but basically looking over the shoulder. Not bad though. I like that one. Then we have whatever this one is. Pretty decent looking. I'm actually a little surprised that we don't have a larger selection of your heroes. I guess that's probably something they have planned for the future, is to release character packs. I know they've got the first expansion already out for this game. And I'll at some point try to get a hold of that and after I play through this a couple of times. Where did my focus go? There we go. It lost focus. And we've got Gimli here. This one is a really cool looking one. I like this dwarf. Yeah, so all in all, not bad at all. Pretty nice looking. They feel pretty heavy compared to like the WizKids ones. These things are a little bit heavier, so the plastic is a little bit different. But yeah, pretty nice looking set though. So there's your player characters. Next up, we have our enemies. The miniatures for the enemies. A nice gray bag, or a bag of gray miniatures here. So let's go ahead and dump these things out and see what we got here. Cool. So we have, let's see if we can count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 bad guys. Out of the 25, it looks like we've got a set of 3 of those. A few of these guys. So I'm going to try to group these into similar types of creatures. Oh, that one's that one. See how this works. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different groups of miniatures here, with 3, 3, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3. So groups of 3 and groups of 6 is what it amounts to. And then a one single one here for the big bad guy. So I guess we're just going to grab one of these of each so we can look at them. So we'll just start with this one over here. No real reason why, but just because. So this one I guess looks more like a ring wraith. This one looks very cool. So the bottom is kind of stamped the same way as our player characters. Some really nice detail on these. These bad guys look really nice. Scale-wise, again, these are pretty much the same as the D&D 5e, so the 28mm-ish scale. So very easy to kind of put these into a D&D game, which is always a bonus for me. I've always need more miniatures for things. So Then we'll move on to this group right down here. There's so there was 3 of these guys, the ring wraiths. We got 6 of these things. I guess these are little orcs or goblins one. They look pretty good though. I really like these sculpts. Excuse me. So I'm a little bit more impressed with the sculpts on the bad guys than with the player characters. So that's cool. Then we have a group of 6 of these. They are pretty cool looking too. Alrighty, 6 of those. We got 3 of these guys, so our archers. Very nice. 3 of those guys. Then we have 3 of these, whatever these are. Yeah, these are pretty badass. Alright. Then we've got 3 of these wargs or wolves or whatever they are. These look really awesome though. Really nice sculpts on these things. Let's keep it swiveling in the same direction. How's that? Very cool looking though. I like those. These remind me of those dog monsters off of Willow, the movie. So, 3 of those anyways. And then our final big bad cave troll is what it looks like. Very nice detail on this one. See how little bumps and everything on him. That is really cool. So for scale wise on the big bad guy here, he's a little bit bigger than these guys, so but yeah, pretty nice. And I guess to let's grab one of our player characters here so you can see the scale on this guy. So not bad at all. So that's all of the bad guys. Very nice set here. I'm really digging these things a lot. So I really like the bad guys in these things. The player characters, not quite as much, but still pretty nice. So, well, that's everything that's included in this box here. So all in all, you get a very cool looking set here. Some really cool bad guys. Some decent looking good guys. Lots of cards, lots of character sheets, things like that. Lots of punch boards, cool rules. So it looks like it's a very interesting game. And as far as the components go, I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. So I'm anxious to go ahead and get started playing this game and to see how well it holds up. If you've ever played like Mansions of Madness, this is basically the same type of game, structure-wise. Just instead of the Lovecraftian themed side of it, you get Lord of the Rings themed stuff. So more high adventure kind of stuff. You know, elves and wizards and trolls and orcs and goblins and things like that. So yeah, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you're probably already picking this thing up, or at least interested in seeing what it is. So hopefully this has kind of helped you to know what to expect inside of the box itself, and you can kind of judge from there whether or not you kind of think you might be interested in playing it or not. So yeah, that's pretty much all the time we've got for today. So thanks for watching. As always, we do appreciate it. You can always subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, but most importantly, drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think of the components in this game. Are you really excited about anything here? Really excited and looking forward to playing the game? Or have you played it already? If you have, you know, what's been your experience with it so far? Drop all those comments down below. Let us know what all's going on. If you'd like to see anything specific, reviewed in future episodes, let me know that as well. I will do my best to get it out in front of you. And again, thanks for watching. And I guess until next time, game on!